The purpose of today is to see how we can use yin and yang and movement or dance to improve leadership. And so basically we're going to have a little chat up here with Eric is our expert in yin and yang and also leadership expert. And then we're going to do a dance experience with Kimberly. And then we're going to share and boom, it's going to fly by like that. So why is this an important topic? I can tell you why it's important to me. My Zen teacher, Adyashanti, says the most important thing is to find out what's the most important thing. And for me, that's consciousness. And it comes by many different names. I don't care if we call it wisdom, awareness, presence, mindfulness, whatever. Let's just have more of it, okay? So that's the idea. For me, that's a very important reason to be doing this work. Secondly, leadership. I am an ambassador for the wisdom movement, and I'm not kidding. I joined Wisdom 2.0 in 2011, and everywhere I go, I talk about what Wisdom 2.0 is doing, because they are leading a new movement all over the world, right? We have this, we have New York, we have Europe, and we have a new conference in Asia. So we can all participate in that. As leaders, we can spread the word. So the corporations don't think it's too woo-woo, because Google and Ford and Aetna, conservative companies and cool companies alike are talking about mindfulness. The masculine and the feminine. Oh my gosh, this is so important to me personally. Now I think of yin-yang as masculine and feminine, and Eric will go into this more. To me, the world is way too dominated, way too much, I would call it unconscious masculine. And my personal story of that is gave birth to a baby boy when I was 19, gave him up for adoption, met him in 2001 when he came to San Diego to join the U.S. Marine Corps before the war was happening. 2003, he was in Ramadi guarding. And I was talking to my Zen teacher about oneness when we have enemies and he might die and oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because of the violence and the unhealthy masculine that I also have within me. I have it right here. That's a huge reason for this conversation is more yin, more feminine, and Eric's going to address that. Now, to lighten things up, then there's dance. Because, you know, we're so serious and things are so intense, but dance and movement lightens things up. So we have a big spectrum here. Some of us think in terms of movement meditation. So I can literally, sometimes I'm closing my eyes the whole time, moving as a meditation. Other times, when I'm leading a group, I'm talking very much about mindful movement. Do this and see how it feels. Do this and see how it feels. Okay, we're talking about mindful movement. And then like the beginning, there's just all-out dance. But we call it conscious dance, those of us who are in conscious dance. Because it enables consciousness. That's why we call it conscious dance. We're not just out at a bar. I never go to bars dancing anymore. So it's very purposeful, and that's why it's relevant. And to have more fun. So with that, Eric,
yes.
Let's talk about yin and yang and the background and the orientation, the overview for just briefly, and then we'll go into the masculine and the feminine.
So it's a big topic. It's going to take us 10,000 years to discuss. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Because we got 5 minutes. In fairness, so Monique talked about the masculine, feminine. I mean, I was raised to be a soldier, a warrior. And then I spent 10 years living in a Buddhist commune that was very focused on wisdom. So there was precision and intensity and concentration and focus and sitting upright and straight. And that only just sort of continued to cultivate this energy that was very intense. And my teachers talked about the combination of intensity and surrender. There was a lot of conversation about letting go and being present and surrendering. But to me, surrender was something you hunted down and acquired. And it wasn't until I took a year of silent retreat in a cabin that I built in the woods in the mountains of New Mexico. And it was in the course of that year that I finally not only surrendered, but came remarkably close to surrendering my life. It was a very intense experience to be alone with my own insanity and have nowhere to escape except through. And that's when it broke open to me that there's more than just concentration and intense focus. There's embodied experience, there's heart, there's spaciousness. And so the yin and yang concepts are really critical, not just as a concept, but fundamentally the two things that I think are important for our conversation is that what we really are after, what the yin and yang, what Taoism, what Zen, what any kind of non-dual, mono program is trying to teach is that the world is a harmonious experience. There are opposites, there are extremes, but they're constantly trying to move towards harmony. But in their effort to constantly move towards harmony, it's impermanent. That's the essence of the yin and yang, is that it's harmonious, opposing energies that never stop. So it's harmony and change. It's impermanence and interconnectedness. That's the deepest piece that we have to take away from it.
So I had I can really say the most intense day of my career. There's a huge program that's launching in about a week, and I'm accountable for it with a huge team of people. And it was one of those days that everything was coming at me, and I could feel my body doing this. And I was like, oh, this is not good. And so I just sat and opened my arms and made space. So I'm going to invite you now to stand up. Make some strong actions. So you can move forward, sideways, backwards, but I encourage you to bring in your arms. Bring your arms into it. It's okay to laugh. There you go. Now we got some movement. Now, take that as if you're going to expand that movement in all directions. You can move it in all directions, moving your body in all directions. Woo! Like you put your arms up, take it out up above your head. You can't read Okay. So, feel into the back. Listening through the skin. So how's that for a different quality of energy? What do you notice now? Peace. Anyone else? Calm. Tranquility. Openness. Clarity.
Possibility.
Possibility. Harmony. Creativity. Love. Joy.
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Beautiful. Right? So we were just as Eric was describing, we were just creating movement and dissolving. And creating movement and dissolving. And creating harmony. And creating energy. And moving in all directions. This is the opportunity of the wisdom of your body. It's all available right here all the time. And that's the invitation for today, is to really embrace that. And know that in that moment that a lot's coming at you, you could actually take a moment and just settle.
Can you feel the high?
Or you can start moving again. So this is the chance to try on any of the energies that support you and have a good time. And walk. And walk. Do some shaking in the back body. Front body. Yeah.
Once again, so hot to the that we
Keep moving to the space.
But in the last remaining moments, I'm curious. If anything sort of has arisen from your experience that you're curious about, or perplexed about, or want to say something about. These energy, dynamic tensions, moving towards harmony and constantly changing, how does that reflect on leadership? Yeah.
It feels so
good to all of us? Why is it so hard for us to do it?
Why would you feel so awkward to actually do it in a team meeting when you're facilitating it?
Everybody agrees it feels good.
Everybody agrees it feels good, then why is it so hard to do it in a team? Yeah. That's a great question to ponder.
I noticed that the yin part enabled the yang part to be even more creative and fresh. So that balancing and only dance can really make me experience that. And words are insufficient.
Words are insufficient, yeah. So can you all hear what he said?
Say that again.
He said, Elaine
Yes.
said that he noticed that the yin part made the yang part more
Fresh.
more expressive.
Yeah.
And there's something really powerful about that, right? I mean, why is it difficult to do in meetings? Because it's awkward and we don't normally do it. What is the benefit of it to some degree is that they feed and they relate and they complement one another. When we get all into one state, we get essentially overused and then brittle. And so when your intellect is overused, it's brittle, and when it's brittle, you snap at all the wrong moments. And so that's where the one nourishes the other, and it's not because it should or it must, it's because it does. Yeah.
We noticed how contagious each other's energy was,
Yeah.
and how available then it always is to go and find a balance. So for somebody who's always in a lot of action, notice the quiet, resting leaders and go kind of be near them.
Yeah.
To help bring that.
And what do you need to do in order to even do that? What do you need to, what can you do to find that balance?
Pay attention.
Pay attention. And that's what this conference is about, right? And that's what this is about, pay attention. When you're forgetful, you're stuck. When you're aware and you practice your mindful practices, you can notice, oh, I really need to move towards this, or I need to move towards that, or I just need to get the heck out of the way. But there's awareness that's required. Yeah. Yeah.
So we talked about leadership being more about being than doing. As leaders, we actually do nothing. We have no deliverables really. And what I felt through this dance, I'm not a big dancer, but I think I'm going to get into it a lot now. What I felt is complete freedom and limitless possibility. I find a lot of us act in the way that we think we're supposed to act. Really, it stifles our creativity and our possibilities.
Can you hear that?
Beautiful.
Could you hear that? Oh, so just to repeat what he said was that you found a lot of freedom. He found a lot of freedom in the movement, and that creates a lot of possibility. And there was another piece though that
what I said is leadership is really about being, not doing, because as leaders we actually do nothing, we don't deliver nothing. We need people that actually do deliver. So our focus should be about being, creating a space for people to perform.
And he said he wasn't a dancer, and now he is. Yeah, my job is done.
That's a placebo mic, by the way, so you have to raise your voice.
So what I found was that everybody was beautiful. Everybody had flow, everyone was connected with themselves and with the music, and all these people who I've never experienced before, who just going up, I might think, well, okay. But I mean, you're beautiful. And then to extend that to what a beautiful being this is, that just showed up dancing.
That's lovely.
Really fantastic.
So I have you consider this because that's such a powerful statement. Spiritual traditions from wherever you come tell us that we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. So when we step into the flow and we find the beauty, people look beautiful. And when we step into anger, people look angry. And when we step into fear, people look frightened. And so there's something very powerful about cleansing the lenses of perception. And when we get sometimes more than just in our judgment, which is a yang, and more into our curiosity, which is the yin, the world can look very different without changing a thing about it, but the energy from which you're approaching it. People are beautiful. We have time for one more. No, we don't. I take that back. I have a big red flashing clock down below me here. Monique, take it home.
Surprise moment. So the thing that we're into is raising consciousness, using embodiment, using powerful leadership with yin and yang, which is so intricate and wonderful. I'm not nearly at the end of this journey. You know, I thought it was just about masculine, feminine, but it's not. It's a lot more. So please just integrate this, take this out and spread the movement in your own way. Oh, because it's so important. There's so much suffering out there and business can be so intense. You can do something as simple as you're in a meeting and go, can we just stand up for a second? Can we just stand up for a second and stretch or shake? Something that simple. Sit back down, okay? You can friend us on Facebook and join the bigger energy of our community. Each of us is on there. You can partner with us if you don't know what to do to spread wisdom in your company. We'll come help. That's what we're here for. And join us so that they're going to ask, you can be part of us, and then they'll ask you to go help, and then it just keeps going like that, okay?
Sign
Cool.
up over there. Sign up.
Sign up over there somehow. Or leave a card if you want to be on our mailing list, but Facebook is so easy. Okay? Namaste, blessings. Thank you, Father.